Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing very well. Today I have a big stack of books that I have read recently and that I am in the middle of. I am in the middle of quite a few books and I'm slightly ashamed about some of them because I have just been trying to prioritize all these books. I'm slightly overwhelmed by how much reading I have to do, but I've read some wonderful books, a lot of different types of books, and I'm really excited to tell you about them. The first three are actually wordless picture books. So they are picture books but just told through images and no words. They were actually, all three of these were gifted to me by a wonderful viewer named Catherine. So Catherine, thank you so much for gifting these to me. I loved reading through them, or looking through them, reading them with my eyes. Well, you do read with your eyes. What am I on about? The first one is Sidewalk Flowers by John Arno Lawson and Sydney Smith. It's about this little girl who is in a world where it's like very much like our modern world where everybody's very busy, adults and a lot of people are on their phones, and this little girl on a walk home with her dad's very distracted, and she picks up little sidewalk flowers on their way home. And as she picks up these little flowers, she spreads her joyful youth with other people. And what I love about the book is that it starts, I have some things from Catherine. It starts mainly in black and white and red illustrations. Oh, there's Willow. Yeah, so you can see it's mainly grayscale with some red, and then the further into the story you go, there's more color, which I just loved so much. Yeah, so it says, a little girl collects wildflowers while on a walk with her distracted father. Each flower becomes a gift, and whether the gift is noticed or ignored, both giver and receiver are transformed by their encounter. Very timely for us in, I feel like, this world where we are very distracted. Just to have those little moments, I think, is really important. Then the next one, I loved this one so much. I put a bunch of little sticky notes in there. But this one is called Wave, and this is by and illustrated by Susie Lee. And this is just a story about a young girl at the beach and how she just encounters the water and how she and the wave have like this fun little moment with each other. This book is really cool. Let me sit back so I can show you guys. I used to work at a bookstore, Barnes & Noble, and I was a part of the children's literature, the children's department, and I would do story time. So this feels like I'm doing story time with you guys. But so it opens with her and the wave, and it's just, I love the way that it's laid out. Sorry, I hope you can see this. You can see that it's like her and the wave. The way that Susie Lee laid out the spreads is so interesting. This is a very hard, can you tell I'm struggling? It's very hard to show. But yeah, like how she makes the splashes, like the little girl was on this side of the page of the spread, and now she's interacting with the blue. I love that it's grayscale with blues. It's just such a wonderful composition, and look at how fun this is. Like, look at those waves, or the one wave, and then how she's interacting with it, and also the birds. I loved how the birds were little side characters as well. And then look at this whole spread is the wave, which is just so cool. So I really loved this one. It was so visually interesting, and as an illustrator myself, I'm always looking at how other illustrators tell stories through images, and this was just such a great one to see and think about from an artistic perspective. So that was a great one. And then this next one won the Best Illustrated Children's Book Award for the New York Times Book Review, and that is The Only Child by Zhou Jing, and this is such a gorgeous book. It's quite longer than the other two, and it's written more like a graphic novel, or if you guys are familiar with the illustrator Sean Tan, he wrote the book Arrival and a few others. This reminded me a lot of Sean Tan's style of like the layouts and the formatting and the storytelling. The illustrations are gorgeous. I believe it's in charcoal and potentially some graphite, but absolutely gorgeous. I am not surprised that this won Best Illustrated, what was it? Best Illustrated Children's Book Award. It's just so gorgeous. So this one is about a child who, I remember reading about how the author was influenced by her own upbringing. It says, a little girl lost and alone follows a mysterious stag into the woods, and like Alice down the rabbit hole, she finds herself in a strange and wondrous world. But home and family are very far away. How will she get back? In this extraordinary wordless picture book, Jo Jing brilliantly captures the rich and deeply felt emotional life of a child filled with loneliness and longing, as well as love and joy. And I believe the author spoke about how at the time there was a limit to the amount of children that you could have, and how she grew up as an only child and her parents, particularly her mother, had to go away to work and she was left alone. And it had a lot to do with that aspect of her childhood, and it was really beautifully retold in this book. It's more fantastical as well, which was really interesting, how she took her own real life experience and kind of put a fantastical and imaginative twist on them. So really great, and highly recommend checking these out. They're all beautiful. And as an illustrator, I am just so blown away by the beautiful books that other creators are making. If you've watched some of my recent videos, then you will have already heard me speak about this one, and that is Ferris by Kate DiCamillo. This is her most recent book. She has been an all-time favorite author of mine since I was a little girl. I just featured her in my favorite authors video, and this is her most recent book about this young girl named Emma, whose nickname is Ferris, and it's really just about her family and one of her friends, her sister, and all the havoc that's going on in their house. Her grandmother is sick and seeing a ghost. This ghost wants something from them, and there's just a lot of commotion going on in this book, but it's really beautiful. It's so much deeper than what it is on the outside, and that's what I love so much about Kate DiCamillo's writing, and what I always highlight whenever I speak about her books is they are so much more than what they are in the synopsis. Like, they're so much deeper. I could feel so much heart and personal ties with Kate DiCamillo's own childhood in this book, because I have researched a lot about her life and I've listened to her interviews, and I just love her as an author and a person, and she's just so wonderful. So this was great. I really loved this, and I read it in, I think, like 2 sittings, one small sitting, and then I just blew through the rest of it because it was just so wonderful and beautiful. So yeah, that's Ferris. And then, you guys, if you saw one of my reading vlogs, I did highlight this book, and that is Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa, and I fell in love with this book. Oh my gosh, and it has made me now obsessed with Japanese literature right now. I've always loved Japanese literature, but I'm like craving all of the Japanese literature. Mainly because of this book. I just loved it so much. So Sweet Bean Paste, I don't want to say too much about it because there is an aspect of it that I feel like is exciting and interesting to find out on your own. But basically it's about this young man who works in a dorayaki shop, and dorayaki is a Japanese pastry or a dessert, and you make it with, you put sweet bean paste basically inside 2 pancakes. So it's like a sandwich, 2 pancakes with sweet bean paste inside. And this older woman with disfigured fingers shows up at the dorayaki shop and asks if she sees a help wanted sign on the door of the shop, and she asks if she can work there, if he needs help. And he sees her disfigured hands, and she's a bit older, and he thinks that she probably wouldn't be up for the like heavy labor of the job because it is quite intense with lifting a lot of pots and pans and stirring and all that stuff. So then she ends up coming back. They start developing a really wonderful like mother-son type relationship where she teaches him how to make her famous sweet bean paste. The descriptions of food in this book are fantastic, and the way that the characters come together was so moving, and by the end of the book I was just weeping because there are some unsaid things that are going on as well, and that's what I don't want to tell you, which I think is interesting to find out on your own. But there are There's a lot going on in this book, and they delve into something that I hadn't really heard too much about, so I was interested to learn about it. Anyway, I just really highly recommend it if it sounds like something you would be interested in. It's wonderful, and I also love this cover. It's just so beautiful. This is from One World Publishing, so yes, I loved Sweet Bean Paste so much. Now we are up to the 4 books that I am in the middle of, and I feel so bad because I haven't given a few of these enough time, or as much time as I would like to. And the first one is Nature Stories by Enid Blyton. I have been reading this all spring and summer. It's a short story collection following different animals and fairies, and it's so wonderful. Enid Blyton is a very popular British author for children, and this is my first book of hers, and I have been loving it. I was reading 1 or 2 stories every day for a while, but then I just stopped, and I need to keep going because this has been such a wonderful companion for the spring and summer season. So I do need to dedicate more time to this, even if it's just 1 story a day. I feel like it would be so nice if I could either read them when I wake up in the morning or before I go to bed. I feel like in the morning, because then like the birds are chirping and you're ready for the day and you're reading about nature. These are so wonderful, and I just need to give more time to them. So that's Nature Stories. And then, guys, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I haven't picked up East of Eden since the last time I updated you. It's not for not wanting to. It's just I'm also reading for the book club 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. And this thing is huge. And I have a little more than a month to read this. And I'm that much of the way in. So I've just really been prioritizing this. I've also just been very busy with work and life. So I haven't picked up East of Eden, which I'm very sad about, but I'm really hoping to just read it slowly over a long period of time. Someone commented when I said that I was reading East of Eden, and they were like, how are you reading that as you're reading 1Q84? And my answer is, I'm not. Sadly, I thought I could do it, but I just haven't had enough time. Also, I really quickly want to mention on a lighter note, you can see my little mini bookmark in here of the penguin. My bookmarks are going to be available again very soon, and I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to bring them back because you guys sold them out in less than 12 hours last month. That blows my mind. So they will be available on August 2nd, which is a Friday, and they are going to be available at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in my Etsy shop. So if you want to get a hold of one of my mini bookmarks, then check out my Etsy shop August 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will also be sharing the dates and a countdown so you could put a reminder in your phone on Instagram. I'll put one on YouTube on the community tab just to remind you guys, but I'm so excited to bring all 4 of the mini bookmarks back, and I hope that you get one if you want one. And just thank you so much for all of your kindness and support towards all the things I create, and it means more than I truly can say. So anyway, back to East of Eden. I really want to read it. I'm going to try my hardest, but I have been prioritizing 1Q84. I have so many thoughts about this book, and I feel like I should probably film a reading vlog for it because I am having such a roller coaster of emotions with this book. We're following 2 different people and 2 different perspectives, Tango and Aomame, and I'm really enjoying the switch between the 2 characters. Every chapter it's a different perspective. I feel like it's really creating an interesting pace. His writing, his depiction, and the way that he writes about women. I knew that it was bad. I've only read Norwegian Wood, and it wasn't great in Norwegian Wood, but it wasn't terrible. Now I'm like, wow. He just talks about breasts like almost every other page, and it's hilarious and kind of concerning all at the same time. Just, yeah, the way that he's depicting women in this book is really honestly horrendous. And in the beginning it was really, really bothering me, but now I feel like it's getting a bit better. The storyline is very interesting. It's very sexual, I will say, and that's something I wasn't expecting at all. I was just, at one point, Leon and I went to a library in my town, and at one point I was like, oh my god, and I showed it to him and he was like, whoa. So it was just, the storyline is really interesting. I'm very much engaged in the story. There's just a lot of strangeness going on, and I know that that's what Murakami is known for, but it was also just like, this is just semi-unexpected at the same time. I'm really intrigued. There's a lot going on that I'm like, what is even happening? And I want to figure out what is happening. So it's keeping me engaged. I'm excited to pick it up every time that I go to read, and I'm enjoying it. In the beginning, I really did not like Aomame, but I do think she's a very, very interesting character. I still don't like her. I don't think we'd be friends. No, we definitely wouldn't be friends. But I think she's a very interesting person to follow. And then Tango's storyline, the way that they talk about the literary world and writing, because he's a part of the literary world, he's also a teacher. The way that they talk about writing in his sections is really interesting. Anyway, I feel like I should post a little vlog about this one because I'm enjoying it a lot, although it's a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of roller coastery feelings. So yeah, that's 1Q84. I'm excited to keep reading. And then if you guys saw my last video where Leon and I went to Soho, New York, we went to the bookshop McNally Jackson, and one of the books that I picked up there was The Boy and the Dog, a novel by Seishu Hase, or Hase, and this is translated from the Japanese by Alison Watts. This is about a dog who, after one of the major tsunamis, is found by our first character outside of a convenience store, and the character basically takes the dog in, and it's about how the dog positively affects all the people that it meets, and it's basically on its journey to its original owner, who is a young boy who hasn't spoken since the tsunami. And I think it's such a beautiful exploration of humans' connections to dogs, and I love dogs. I am a dog owner. I have Willow, so I just love books about dogs. I am up to chapter 4, and so far I'm loving it already. The parts that I've just read, there are themes of Alzheimer's and memory loss, and how dogs can be like therapy animals for those people going through Alzheimer's. I worked at a nursing home on the dementia unit, and I was helping take care of the patients, or the residents, and we would have therapy dogs come in and visit with the residents, and it was so wonderful to see their faces light up, and just how dogs are just pure joy, and they can be like family members, and they could just help heal people in all different kinds of ways. So I love how that's explored in this book, and I can't wait to keep reading it. So I am in the middle of these 4 books, so I will keep reading them, keep going. My main focus though is to just read 1Q84 because that's the chunkiest one, and I need to read it for the book club, and I am really enjoying it, and I am very intrigued about what's going on. So yes, these are all the books that I have read recently. I would love to know if you've read any of them and what you think about them. I would also love to know what books you've been reading recently, so definitely let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about my next Etsy restock of the bookmarks, then feel free to leave them in a comment and I'll get back to you. But I think that's all that I had to talk about today, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing about these books and maybe got some good recommendations. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of your kindness and support so much, like I said before. I just can never say it enough, so thank you very much. And I will see you very soon in another video, and as always, happy reading.